Greetings, Temple Beth Shalom. It's Rabbi Boxed here with my Parashat Shavua, Torah portion of the week. We are in Parashat Eikev, which is in the book of Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 12 through 11, verse 25. So this particular Torah portion has the following outline, let's say. It begins with a section dealing with idolatry. Then it talks about the inner dimensions of Israel's existence, the good life, if you will. Then we run into a section of the stiff-necked people, because, hello, we're the children of Israel. And then the good land. The discourse continues with an exhortation along familiar lines. Israel must revere and love God, and God only, who is their proven guardian and savior, and that will allow them to stay in the land. So let's talk a little bit about this different section. So idolatry. We are taught from a very early age that we are not to bow down to anything other than God. And we are not to bow down to humans. We're not allowed to bow down to idols, to worship anything that is not God. And oftentimes people say, well, what about the Torah? People stand when the Torah is out of the ark, and people reach out and touch the Torah and kiss their hand, or vice versa. Isn't that idol worship? And the answer is no, because we're not worshiping the Torah. What we're doing is we're revering the history, the words, the stories, the mysteries, the challenges, the narrative of our people's history. So it's really more a term, it's more an act of respect, of reverence to, as opposed to worshiping. But when it comes to idolatry, we're literally not allowed to even come in contact so much with the idols of another religion. There's a very, very distinct line here, verse 16 of chapter 7. You shall destroy all the peoples that the eternal your God delivers to you, showing them no pity, and you shall not worship their gods, for that would be a snare to you. It's very clear what we're being told here. Not only do we not bow down to the idols, but they are not allowed to be in our presence. We are not allowed to be in their presence. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that we don't treat people that live in our midst, a stranger in our midst, with respect. We do. But if we are coming up against an enemy who is not allowing us to live our lives, then we have a responsibility to defend ourselves, which is very similar to where we find Israel these days. Israel is defending herself from enemies who do not want them to live. And that is what we're doing. We are doing what the Bible tells us to do, which is to protect ourselves. So we have in this particular section, we have from chapter 9, Shema Yisrael. We have the words Shema Yisrael, Hear, O Israel, but this is not the Shema that we say in our services. That does appear in this Torah portion, but not in the place that I just read. And we have the responsibility to faithfully observe all these commandments. It's not just that we're doing them, but that we understand and we're faithfully making a commitment to follow these rules. We have Moses reminding the people that they were stiff-necked and they provoked God by arguing with Moses. And yes, that does appear to be somewhat of a theme in the Torah, a trope, if you will. And yet, God still reminds us that God will be with us as long as we return to God and we honor God and we respect the laws and the rules that we are given by God. And then we have chapter 11, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, and so on and so forth. We have the beginnings of the second half of the Shema. And it goes on further from there. And the Torah portion ends with, if then you faithfully keep all this instruction that I command you, loving the Eternal your God, walking in all God's ways and holding fast to God, the Eternal will dislodge before you all these nations. You will dispossess nations greater and more numerous than you. Every spot on which your foot treads shall be yours. Your territory shall extend from the wilderness to the Lebanon, and from the river of the Euphrates to the western sea. No one shall stand up to you. The Eternal your God will put the dread and the fear of you over the whole land in which you set foot, as promised. That's this week's Torah portion. Shabbat Shalom.